Have you ever met someone who made you feel more alive than anything else? Someone whose attention felt like a gift? Someone who saw you in a way nobody else ever did? And then, without warning, they went cold. They pulled away. They disappeared. And the silence they left behind was louder than any words they ever said to you. Now, here is what keeps people trapped. That silence, that sudden coldness. It does not make you walk away. It makes you fight. It makes you want to understand what happened. It makes you replay every moment asking yourself what you did wrong. You did not do anything wrong, but you do not know that yet. So you chase, you wait, you shrink yourself into smaller shapes, trying to fit into whatever space they left for you. And then just when you are about to break, they come back. Maybe they text, maybe they show up, maybe they say something that gives you hope. And that return, that moment when they pull you back in, it feels better than the first time they ever noticed you. Why does that happen? Why does someone who hurts you feel like the answer to everything you have been searching for? Why does their inconsistency make you want them more instead of less? Why does distance create obsession instead of indifference? The truth is, nobody talks about this because it feels shameful. People think if they just tried harder, understood better, loved more patiently, things would change. They think the problem is them. They think if they can just figure out the right words, the right moves, the right amount of space, they can make this person stay. But the problem was never your effort. The problem was never your love. The problem was a game you did not even know existed, a pattern playing out right in front of you. And once you understand that pattern, everything changes. Here is what I am going to show you in this video. I am going to break down exactly why you keep getting pulled into people who push you away. I am going to explain the psychological mechanism underneath the chaos so you stop blaming yourself. I am going to show you why the intensity you feel is not love, but something else entirely. And I am going to give you the framework to finally step out of the cycle that has been stealing your peace for months or maybe years, but only if you stay until the end. Because the last section of this video is where everything comes together. That is where the shift happens. That is where you stop being the person who waits and becomes the person who chooses. So do not click away. Not yet. You deserve to understand what is really happening here. And you deserve to feel certain again instead of constantly confused. So keep watching. What you learn next might be the reason you finally stop chasing someone who was never really yours to hold. This is the game, and now you are ready to see it. There is a reason you felt understood when I described what you have been going through, because this is not rare. This is not something that only happens to broken people or unlucky ones. This is happening to millions of people right now, and it has been happening for generations. It is so common that most people accept it as normal. They think love is supposed to feel like this. They think the confusion is just part of it. They think the chasing is what good partners do. They are wrong. What you experienced has a name. It is called push-pull. And once you understand it fully, the entire relationship makes sense in a way it never did before. Push-pull is exactly what it sounds like. Someone pushes you away, then they pull you back. They create distance, then they create hope. They go silent for days. Then they come back with warmth that feels like sunlight after a storm. And the cycle keeps going, deeper each time, harder to break each round. The push is when they withdraw. When their energy changes, when they stop being as present as they were before. It can look like taking longer to respond. It can look like canceling plans last minute. It can look like physical distance or emotional distance or both. It can look like them suddenly seeming distracted when you are together. It can look like them pulling back after intimacy. It can look like them going quiet right after you open up. Every single time it feels like something shifted and you do not know what it was. And here is what makes it so powerful. You do not just accept the push, you resist it. Your brain immediately starts working on the problem. You think about what you said. You replay your interactions. You look for the mistake you made. You try to fix what is broken, even though you do not know what broke it. This is the trap. The push creates urgency. It creates a need to understand. It creates a hunger inside you that was not there before the distance happened. Then comes the pull. They return. The warmth comes back. The attention returns. And the relief you feel is so intense that your brain connects it with the person who caused the pain. This is not love. This is survival. Your nervous system was activated by the uncertainty, and the return satisfied that activation. But here's the part nobody talks about. That satisfaction is addictive. Every time the pattern repeats, it gets stronger. The distance gets longer. The pull gets more rewarding, and you get more attached without even realizing it. This is why people stay in these situations for months or years. They are not stupid. They are not weak. They are trapped inside a loop that their own psychology is running. The same part of your brain that makes you check your phone repeatedly is the same part that kept your ancestors alert for danger. The uncertainty triggers your survival system. And survival systems do not care about logic, they care about resolution. The person running this pattern may not even know they are doing it. Most of the time, they are not intentionally playing games. They are not sitting there thinking about how to make you obsessed. They are simply following their own emotional programming. Their own experiences taught them that closeness is dangerous. Their own nervous system learned that getting too close leads to pain. So they have a reflex. When things get too good, they pull back. Not because they do not care, but because they care so much that it scares them. And the closer you get, the more they panic. This is the phenomenon. It is a dance between two nervous systems. Yours is trying to solve the mystery of the inconsistency. Theirs is trying to protect itself from the vulnerability of real intimacy. Both of you are trapped in patterns you did not choose. But here's the difference. You can see your pattern, and once you see it clearly, you get to choose what happens next. That is what the rest of this video is going to show you. Now that you see the pattern clearly, let me show you what is actually happening underneath it, because understanding the pattern is the first step. But understanding why your brain responds the way it does is what gives you permanent freedom. Human beings are wired for connection. This is not a choice. It is not a preference. It is built into your biology at the deepest level. From the moment you were born, your survival depended on connection. A baby who is not held does not thrive. A child who is ignored does not develop properly. Adults who lack meaningful connection experience higher rates of depression, illness, and early death. Connection is not a luxury. It is a fundamental need like food and water and air. So when connection becomes uncertain, your brain does not just notice. Your brain sounds an alarm. It activates your entire system. It floods you with thoughts about the person who created the uncertainty. It makes you replay conversations. It makes you analyze text messages for hidden meanings. It makes you check your phone hoping for a response. This is not love. This is your survival system working exactly as it was designed to work. The ancient part of your brain does not know the difference between a tiger in the bush and a person who went silent. Both represent a threat to your need for connection. Both trigger the same response. Focus, intensity, hyper-awareness. Your heart rate increases. Your thoughts become repetitive. You cannot stop thinking about the threat until it is resolved. This is why silence is so powerful. This is why unanswered messages feel like physical pain. This is why someone who was warm yesterday and cold today creates such chaos inside you. Your brain is treating the inconsistency as a problem to be solved, and the only way to solve it is to get resolution from the other person. That is why you chase. That is why you reach out. That is why you keep trying, even when you know you should stop. But here is the twist that makes this so brutal. The uncertainty does not just make you want answers. It makes you want the person more. Research shows that unpredictable rewards trigger a stronger dopamine response than predictable ones. Your brain lights up more when the reward might come than when you know it will come. This is not opinion. This is neuroscience. The same mechanism that makes gambling addictive makes inconsistency feel magnetic. When someone is consistent, you feel safe. Safety is comfortable. But comfort does not create intensity. When someone is inconsistent, you feel activated. That activation feels like passion. It feels like chemistry. It feels like the person is special. But what you are feeling is not special connection. It is your nervous system responding to threat and reward in rapid succession. This is the first layer of truth you need to hold on to. The intensity you feel is not proof of how much you love them. It is proof that your brain is trying to solve an unsolved problem. The confusion is not depth. It is dysregulation. The obsession is not passion. It is your psychology trying to restore something that felt like it was being taken away. And the person on the other side of this, they may be doing something just as unconscious. They may have learned early that closeness leads to loss. Their own nervous system may be protecting them from something they do not even remember. When things get too good, their body sends a warning. Pull back before you get hurt again. They are not trying to hurt you. They are trying to protect themselves from something they cannot see. So nobody in this pattern is broken. Nobody in this equation is the villain. You are both trapped inside automatic responses that were shaped long before you ever met. The push-pull is a collision of two nervous systems trying to protect themselves. And once you see it that way, you stop taking the distance personally. You stop thinking you did something wrong. You stop believing you just need to try harder. The problem was never your effort. The problem was never your love. The problem was two people caught in an automatic dance that neither of them designed. And now you understand the mechanism, the hunger, the pull, the reward, the cycle. It is all biological. It is all predictable. And knowing that is the beginning of breaking free from it. Everything I just explained about your brain and survival systems now needs to connect to something deeper. Because the reason this pattern feels so familiar, so predictable, so hard to escape, is that it lives inside a psychological framework that has been studied for decades. This framework is called attachment theory, and understanding it will change everything about how you see this situation. Attachment theory was developed by a British psychologist named John Bowlby. He observed something remarkable. The way children connect to their primary caregivers shapes how those children connect to everyone else for the rest of their lives. Not because of genetics, because of experience. The specific way a child learns whether the world is safe or unsafe, whether people can be trusted or must be approached with caution, becomes the operating system their brain runs on when they become adults. This means your style of relating to romantic partners is not random. It is not about luck or timing or finding the right person. It is about a blueprint you received in childhood that is still running your relationships today. And the person who keeps pushing you away and pulling you back, they have their own blueprint too, a different one. One that explains everything they do. There are several attachment styles, but one matters most for this conversation. It is called avoidant attachment. People with this style learned something specific in their early years. They learned that closeness comes with a cost, that showing vulnerability leads to pain, that depending on others is dangerous. These lessons did not come from one bad experience. They came from consistent patterns. Maybe a parent who was emotionally unavailable, maybe a caregiver who dismissed big feelings, maybe a household where showing need was seen as weakness. The child adapted. They learned to rely on themselves instead of others. They learned to keep distance, even when they wanted closeness. They learned that being alone felt safer than being disappointed. This is where the push comes from. When someone with avoidant attachment starts to feel real intimacy, their alarm system activates, not because of you, because of everything that came before. They do not think I am getting close to someone wonderful. They think this feels dangerous. Something in their body says pull back before this becomes another wound. So they do. They go quiet, they withdraw, they create space, and this is the most confusing thing in the world for the person on the receiving end. But here is what you need to hear right now. Their withdrawal is not a measurement of your worth. It is not a statement about how much they care. It is their nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do, protecting them from a pain they have carried since childhood. The distance they created had nothing to do with what you did or did not do. It had everything to do with what happened to them years before you ever existed in their world. This is the truth that sets you free. You could have been the most patient, most loving, most understanding person on this planet. You could have given everything you had. You could have never asked for more than they could give. The outcome would have been the same. Because you cannot love someone out of a wound they developed before they ever knew what love was supposed to feel like. Do not hear this as permission to blame them. Do not hear this as an excuse to stay and keep suffering. Hear this as the end of your confusion. The pattern you were caught in was never your fault. The blame you carried for months or years was misplaced. You did not fail because you could not fix them. You failed because you tried to solve an equation that required healing nobody can give except themselves. And now you understand why the cycle felt so powerful. Their push activated your attachment system because your system is designed to fight for connection. Your pushback activated their avoidance because their system is designed to protect against it. Two wounded systems dancing together in a loop nobody asked for, both of you reacting to old pain instead of present reality. Both of you trapped inside patterns that were built long before you ever met. This is not a love story. It is a survival story playing out in real time. And now that you see it clearly, you get to decide what happens next. Not them, you.